Guys, it's Austin here, and I hope you're having a great day. In today's Saturday Snake School, we're going to be talking about Het Pied markers. We're not going to go too in depth in them. We're going to stay on the surface level, just show you a little bit of what they look like, show you a few different things to look for, and what they look like inside of different combos. And first off, we're going to start with just a normal Het Pied. So right down here we have somewhat of a normal Het Pied. This is a dinker gene that we have, that new gene, and this is double het for lavender pied. And right away you can see it looks pretty much like a classic ball python or a normal, but a lot of the Het Pied markers lie in the tail of the snake. And right away we're going to flip her over and notice she has those Het Pied marker tracks, and those are just tracks on both sides of the belly towards the tail. And you can see they actually start all the way up here and they come down. They're interrupted right here by a little bit of a ringer. And if you guys don't know what a ringer is, it's kind of like a pied marker. Sometimes you can get it on stuff that's not Het Pied, but a lot of the times the Het Pieds do have ringers. If not a really obvious one, sometimes a hidden one, just like what you're seeing right here. And you can just notice it's just a little bit more white on the belly in the middle here around this orange flaming. You get a little bit of the orange flaming here as well. That's just a ringer only on the belly. When it comes up on the top, that's when you get the really expressive white pied looking pattern. And you can also notice the ringer did affect the side a little bit. It brought the flaming really high on both sides. And here you can really see that nice orange flaming coming from the Het Pied. So not all snakes that are Het Pied have ringers, and they don't all look the same. This is a GHI Het Pied girl, and if we look at her belly, she does have the Het Pied tracks, you can see right there at the end of the tail, but a lot of the rest of the snake doesn't really have the pied markers. So looking for other markers is good too, just like chaining of the pattern along the side of the snake. We're having a lot of that happening here. Usually GHIs tend to have a pattern like this, where it's a lot of banding and very separate pattern, but Het Pied likes to come in kind of like the Orange Dream does and just start chaining the pattern towards the tail. So if you're not seeing any of those tracks on the belly, or the tracks are kind of weak like on this GHI Het Pied, where you're just seeing a little bit on the tail and it kind of goes into the tip of the tail too. But for me, that's not the best marker, so that's why I go and look for another one. And the chaining is just really good and easy to tell. Mix those two together and it's pretty safe to say that you got a Het Pied there. So showing you another combo here. This is 100% Het for Pied. This is a Super Banana Java. And right away we're noticing not much chaining on the sides. Actually, it looks like no chaining at all. And this is 100% Het for Pied. And we look at the belly, there definitely is those Het Pied tracks. You're getting a nice solid line on this side. And when we flip her over, we're getting a nice another solid line on that side. Those are very strong markers, but sometimes they're not enough. So if you are looking to hold back anything that's 50 or 66% Het Pied, you're going to want to look for very strong tracks like that. And I guess we can kind of call this chaining now that I'm looking at it. You can see how they're all connecting towards the belly here. Some morphs do that when there's no Het Pied. Banana is not one of them, neither is Java, so that could be a Het Pied marker inside of this snake, but that's not strong enough for me compared to something like this next snake I'm about to show you guys. Here we have a cinnamon leopard fire double het enhancer pied, and right away, you know, cinnamon and leopard, cinnamon is a really nice circular pattern along the side, and leopard wax patterns out. But here's a little tip for leopard inside a Het Pied. Usually leopards, when they're Het Pied, they like to stripe. So they give you a really nice dorsal stripe and they chain the pattern along both sides, just like what we're seeing here. So this is a great example of what the Het Pied can do to combos, because if you were to search up a cinnamon leopard fire that isn't Het Pied, you can go and see how much different the pattern is and how less striped it is. And another cool thing on this one, it's expressing great Het Pied markers. If you guys look at the belly, we're losing those tracks, but we kind of like got a paradox pied on the belly, This is also a great Het Pied marker when you're looking at the belly and you're kind of seeing those pied saddles. This is a great marker when you can kind of see those outlines of like a pied saddle on the belly. It's really white, there's no flecking. A lot of Het Pieds tend to do this, especially when they're throwing ringers, just like this girl is right here. You can see that really nice white pattern coming up the side. This is what I meant as a ringer at the beginning of the video. We kind of got another one over here. It's almost like a paradox ringer where the whole belly pretty much is all white. Here we have an Enchi Leopard Het Pied, and right away, once again, the Het Pied changed the whole appearance of the snake. If you're looking, you can see we have some banding over here. This is typical of what the Enchi and Leopard should be looking like. Should give you some wackiness in here, but a very banded snake, not too much chaining. But as soon as we get about halfway down the snake, that's where a lot of the Het Pied markers appear. And you're seeing we have really nice chaining of the side pattern dragging along towards the tail, and we even have it on this side as well. And if we look at the belly, we don't have too many of the tracks, but we do have a nice ringer hiding in here, and you can just see it right here. I don't know how well the camera's gonna pick it up, but we got some oranges and all that coming in here, and you can just see you got a little bit more white inside of the scales here than everywhere else on the belly. That's just the white from the ringer coming through, and we got a little bit more orange and yellow here. It's very subtle on the snake, but without the camera to the naked eye, you can definitely go and see the difference. So for the next 3 snakes we're going to be showing you, there are 3 possible Het Pieds that we're growing up. We could get them shed tested. I think some of them we already have, but they still say 66% het on them. Not too sure if they are het or if they're not, but we're going to go and use the tips that we just showed you guys to try to identify if they're Het Pied or if they're not. And right away we're going to start off here with the lavender, 66% het G-stripe, 50% het for pied. And I also think this is a pastel with all the really nice bright colors in there. And right away with albino, it's going to hide a lot of the stuff that you're looking for. Like the tracks are going to be harder to see. Looking right now, I can kind of see a little bit of yellow tracks along the side, but it's kind of hard to tell because everything is kind of yellow and white. And looking along the sides, we are seeing some chaining of the pattern right over here, and a little bit more dragged over here. On this side, there's not too much. We got like 1 pattern dragged here. But when we look at the top of the snake at the dorsal, you can see about halfway down we start getting these striping, and a really consistent stripe about halfway down the tail all the way to the tip, which to me is a great Het Pied marker. Usually albinos are just like the normal ball pythons where they don't have any striping on the dorsal. They might have a couple of spots like that, but no striping, and we know that Het Pied tends to bring in striping, so I would lean on the side that this is going to be proving out for Het Pied just because of that, even though it doesn't have too many other markers. So I would say I'm more on the 66% side of it actually proving rather than it not proving. Here we have a normal 66% double het enhancer pied female, and right away we're going to say that she's het enhancer. We're not going to say why, that's for another video. Comment down below if you want us to show all the markers we know for every single recessive that we found het markers for, and we'll get that video or those videos to you soon. But right away, we're not looking for a het enhancer, we're looking for Het Pied. So some of the markers we're looking for are chaining along the sides, and we kind of got that chaining again at the very bottom here. It's not the best chaining, and I do see the pattern stretch a little bit on the side there. On this side we got a lot better chaining. These 3 are just blended together, which is a good sign for Het Pied. Next we're gonna go look at the belly of the snake, and we're seeing those tracks on both sides of the Het Pied markers. And once again, I'll just show you guys, it's that really nice bold outline of the black on both sides. Kind of looks like railway tracks, that's why they're called tracks. And then if we look at the top of the snake, there's a real nice stripe on the end of the dorsal here. We're looking for more of a pattern like that compared to something where you're just getting the spots like a normal ball python. But this girl, I would consider her to be a Het Pied, especially with all those different markers being there. The dragging, we have the tracks, as well as the dorsal stripe, so safe to say that she's going to prove, but it's always best to go and say that it's a 66% or a 50% het until you actually prove it out with either genetic testing or breeding. And the last snake we're going to be showing is actually a sibling to the last one. This is an Enchi 66% double het enhancer pied, and right away, I'm not too sure. I'm not seeing too many markers on the top here. We have a little bit of a dorsal stripe, but I think it's too low down on the tail to really say it's attributing from the het pied. Here we got a little bit of chaining on the side, not too much. We got here, still connected over here, and even connects to this little band over here. We do have some more chaining all the way from here, which goes all the way down to the tip of the tail actually. Those are some pretty strong markers, and it actually has the exact same thing on this side as well. So I'd say that could be a het pied marker. And we're going to flip this baby over, and looking on the belly, we can definitely see those railway tracks or the het pied tracks. I'm going to kind of ignore all the tracks over here. I'm looking more on this section of the tail between my two thumbs, and you can just see how consistent it is. Usually Enchis tend to have a belly pattern somewhat more like here, where it's kind of sporadic, it has parts missing, and it mostly just shows the bands where the black pattern comes down. But here we're getting really nice consistent stripes even where there's no black pattern coming down. So I'd say that's a really good het pied marker. So we got the chaining on the sides, not too much on the dorsal, but we do have that really strong tracks on the belly, which is a great indicator for het pied. And we just made this video so that you can know which ones to hold back or which babies to buy if you're looking at buying pos het pieds. Once again, we have noticed other markers for other hets. If you guys want to see those videos, comment down below which het you want to see, and we'll do that video next. Hope you enjoyed this week's Saturday Snake School, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace out.